Hello and welcome to Heather and Hops. My name is Kat, or Catherine. I'm a knitter based in Hertfordshire, the United Kingdom, and this is my little space where I've documented my knitting journey from my first project through to now where I've made quite a lot of items. Slightly different today. I just thought I would sit down and have a chat. I have got one knitting project with me that I will sit and maybe do a little bit on, but yeah, I just didn't fancy doing traditional format. I just thought I'd sit and have a chat, a little catch up. Getting cozy, taking my shoes off, and kind of just talk about what's going on, some ideas, and just, yeah. So if you would like to join me in a beverage, that would be lovely. I hope you have some sort of project to keep you busy or something else that you might be doing alongside this little waffle. I have a good cup. This was a gift from, I don't know where it was from, but from one of my friends who I did actually recently. I've knitted a few things for her, but I actually knitted one of these for her. No, it was a different one, but a similar thing. Yeah, and in it, so I've got lots of friends with me today. I have this, which is from Aroma Borealis Herb Tea Company, and it's Northern Lights tea, and there's, if I remember, it's like spearmint, peppermint, juniper, birch leaves and fireweed, which I really like. Fireweed is something that we drink here anyway, but this was a really lovely gift from Crux Fibres when she sent me very kindly a bat of fibre to make a pair of no nylon socks with. So it's very nice to be sitting here having friends with me, even if they're, you know, a million miles away. Not that far, but you know. I will tell you what I'm wearing, because yes, I finally got my hair green. It's only taken, I don't even know, like 3 months, maybe more. But we are doing some camping coming up, and I'm not going to get a chance to be clean and fresh. I can't imagine, not to this extent. So I just thought I'd make myself feel nice. It's also been a really busy week already, and it's going to be. So I thought sitting down chatting, just doing a very informal chat, but feeling a bit nicer would be good. So here we have it. I am wearing my Best Beret by James N. Watts. I love this thing. Very inspired by Maria of Woollen Forest, who, if you don't follow, I'd be very surprised, but has a beautiful everything. Feel, atmosphere, aesthetic, you say it is. Very much inspired by her latest Best Beret. Well, in fact, we've done a swap, haven't we? I won't talk directly to people if I can help it, but I knitted a red version and then Maria knitted a black one, so I knitted a black one and now she's knitted a red one, and all of our versions are very different, but I really like them. This was knitted using lighter weight yarn, and it comes out a bit smaller than what is recommended, but it's what I like. Even with my beanies, I like them to sit a little bit back and be quite small. So this is it. I really love it. Easy pattern to knit, great starter project because it's small and very simple. You are essentially just starting with an I-cord, which is a really good tool to have if it's not in your arsenal, and then, a weird phrase, then you pick up stitches, which is again something really good to learn how to do, and then you increase until it's the width that you want or recommended, and then decrease, and then you create a little I-cord doodly-doo. There's an option to have two, and there's two different sizes, but yeah, I won't go into too much more detail, but it's a great little item, and I like it in particular when I have either, this is fresh hair, so I don't cover, but when I used to do pin curls a lot, I really like to have a beret because it gives the option of covering up this area, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm very lazy with the back of my hair. I don't see it, so there. But yeah, it's just a really nice thing, and I quite like it after a show, or if I'm out, it's like an extra bit of warmth, and if it's not quite beanie weather, and it's a bit of a nice sort of soiree, if only you don't do that. but it's nice to have a beret rather than just a beanie in my bag. I'm also wearing 2 more items. One is the other James N. Watts pattern. This is by James N. Watts. This is the Look at My Holes. I wear it all the time. I won't go into too much detail about it. It's just one of my favourite patterns. If you want more information, I think even last episode I spoke about them, so it's a really great pattern. Raglan construction, very simple to knit, very wearable, very layerable. And then this one is the My Little Secret Crop. I think I got it right this time. By Jessie May. Again, I won't talk about it too much, but it's a pattern that I love. I wear it a lot. The Look at My Holes was knitted using Ito Kinu, which is like a 100% silk. And this one, My Secret Little Crop, was knitted using Drops Nepal. I really like both of these items. I like my black knitted items. They are the most practical in my wardrobe, and I actually really enjoy knitting with black. I'm also wearing my Winslow culottes, which aren't the best thing I've ever sewn, but I love them. I wear these quite a bit considering they are a little bit janky, but I would really love to sew another pair of these in the future. I think either black linen or maybe even doing them quite a bit narrower and doing kind of a black cord would be really nice. But yeah, so I'm wearing entirely me made, apart from my knickers, which we didn't really need to say, but one day I'll be able to knit them. I don't really want to knit them, if I'm honest. Sew them too. Oh dear, it's going to be one of those days. Strap yourselves in. It's going to be a bumpy ride. So the project that I wanted to work on is my Arachne, which I'm getting on with the yoke now. I'm really torn, basically. Half of me is really excited to finish the yoke and half of me is really sad, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm really enjoying it. So I've got, I think, about maths, 4/5-ish of the way through the chart. I kind of think I've got one more repeat, so maybe even further, and I don't want to. I want it to keep going, but I'm really enjoying it. I haven't knitted a yoke in ages. Actually, I don't know that I've knitted one this year, and I am using, the black is from Hobby. It's called Evergreen and it's the black colourway, and then I'm using this jasmine colour natural sock by Woolly Mammoth, which partly seems a shame to be putting this into a project where it's not absolutely shining, but it's lovely and I'm going to use it. I could knit a pair of socks, but I'd rather this went into a garment. So, and then this, I think I got this from, if I remember, it might have been Yarn Yarns. I don't want to get it wrong, but I got like a bumper deal for some yarn for using with my knitting machine, and I mentioned that I like mohair and this was one of the things that came with it. And I'm really enjoying it. I've put it on actually a larger cable than I have knitted a garment on in a long time. Usually if you see me, I'll have my stitches really like cramped in, and because of the length of the floats, I felt like a larger cable and even slightly longer needles was the right option. So I tend to veer towards the 4-inch needles these days, which I only have the smaller set, but that would be fine for this. And then, I don't know, I just felt like with the longer floats it will be much better to have more room to work, so I'm using the 5-inch ones, and I think I'm using a 32-inch cable, which isn't massive, but there is lots more room for manoeuvring. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm also using a ladder back jacquard, which is a method I've mentioned and use when I need to. The pattern doesn't recommend it, but I do think it's helping. It basically, you create a set of purl stitches that sit behind the fabric, and I think I should really consider adding in a couple more in the middle, so I might do that, but because there's not that much left, I'm kind of like, well, maybe I just have the long floats and deal with it. But basically it makes a whole bit of fabric that sits behind your main fabric with these really stretchy floats. So that is helping, I think, to make it look a little bit neater than I might otherwise achieve, because I haven't done colour work in ages. I think the last proper colour work I did, like an all over-ish, or like a good amount, was the Ravenlight gloves by Harper of Disyarning, which are amazing, and I keep thinking about making another pair for a gift, trying to get ahead for the winter season, but haven't quite got there yet. Which leads me, I'm just gonna waffle, but I did write just a very short scruffy list of things to mention if my brain does the things. But if you've been here for a while, you might have seen my husband, Mr. Hobbs, Alex, knits as well, and he, for his birthday last year, bought himself, was it this year? It was this year, I think. He bought himself some Ulysses yarn, and it's absolutely gorgeous. It really is. Try not to hold on to you so you don't make a racket. In this beautiful blue colourway. It's slightly heathered, it's harder to see, but it's really, really lovely. And he's been knitting the Ardmore. Yeah. So it is a bottom-up construction modern take on a Gansey by Kate Davies. He did all of the body on his own. I helped him a little bit with the bind off row for the sleeves, and I did a little bit of the cabling, but he did a good amount of it. But he recently tried it on, and it would have been fine maybe in January, but he has been again, if you've been here for a while, we've both had some health things on and off, and he's been at the gym a bit, and his shoulders are now quite a bit broader, and this is a little bit tight. So I think as a way of helping him and motivating him and also bringing me joy, I think I'm gonna take it apart and I'm gonna knit it for him. And whether I knit it entirely or he takes on some of it, we'll decide. But I did have a chat with him last night, and he would be very happy to have the item, but is rightfully a little bit disheartened at the thought of having to redo it all, especially when we actually timed ourselves yesterday, and for a round on his hat that he's doing at the moment, I did it in the third of the amount of time, and I don't rush my knitting, so I did actually do it fairly slow. I think it was equated to 120, I don't know, it was like 120 stitches in 3 minutes. So that's 40 stitches a minute, which, you know, I wasn't. So yeah, all that to say, really, I think I'll be able to do it a little bit quicker than he will, and it'll also feel really nice for me to knit him something. I really have been enjoying gift knitting lately. It's been, I don't know, bringing me as much joy as knitting those few really key pieces for my ward, like this made me smile so much. And I know I don't know, it's not everyone's flavour, but that's the beauty, isn't it, to be able to make it exactly to our flavour, and that will be something that Alex wears and loves. So part of me was like, oh, wouldn't it be fun to take it with me on our little trip and see if I can get it done for the Perth Festival of Yarn. But I think that's wild. That's sort of just over a month, isn't it, for an entire jumper, along with other things that I really need to work on as well. But it would be fun. It would be a fun challenge, and I really love cables. So Guess I could take it with us and then he could do some on the travels. And when he's bored or enjoying himself too much, then maybe I can take over. Good idea. Which also, so we are going away, like I said, we're doing a bit of camping coming up soon. And I don't have anything simple and small on my needles. So I have this, and if I do finish the yoke, it might be that this would be the perfect project because it will keep me going. Just taking this and then a pair of socks to knit. But I kind of pulled out some yarn because like I said, my sock yarn's wool pantry box has really dwindled, and it's great to see it dwindling because it means I'm using it. But I still have probably too many choices. So I'm thinking I could take this and I'd definitely get a pair, maybe even 2 pairs of shorties out of it. And then that would be a really nice little Christmas, festive, autumn, welcoming pair. These are nylon. In fact, these two bits of nylon. So let's come back a bit. So this set is from Stripy Cat Yarns, who is currently on a break, rightfully so. And this is the Highland base. It's lovely. Just casually eating some more, as always. And then this is from Wool Matters, and this is a gorgeous base. The socks I've already knitted in this yarn. I really wear a lot, even in the summer they've been. So I might do that. But in terms of nylon-y ones, I have this fun combo, which is, this was the Every Flavour Bean colour, and then these two I can't remember. But I dyed this. And I've already knitted with it. It's really fun. It might be the perfect kind of, I'm away, I've not got choice and things to just drop a project, so it might keep me entertained a bit more. Again, all of these I will probably just do plain socks, apart from one set. So here is another option. So this is from Dotty Wool Company, who is amazing, Ruth. Don't know if she's still dyeing at the moment. I think she's also taking a break. And then these two are from Woolly Mammoth Fibre Company, and this is dyed with indigo, and I think this is the jasmine colourway as well. Yeah, really love this combo. It will be fun and a bit strangely delicate, but still kind of me. And then I have this lovely yarn that I've been waiting ages, and as you can see I've already knitted with it a couple of times. And this is from Whistlebear. This is Wensleydale and Mohair. I love mohair. Do I need to say it again? Probably not. So I'm tempted to take this and to do a kind of ribbed pair of socks with it. I will probably knit it a bit of outside, as always, using probably 2.5mm needles and doing a smaller amount of stitches. But then this could potentially do a pair of normal socks and a pair of shorties, so this might be a good idea because it's kind of compact. But then it's not, maybe it is. Or taking some Garthnol, which is another sock yarn that I really love that doesn't have nylon. Again, I've knitted socks in these before and I use those ones a lot too, even though the ribbons I'm doing. I'm a bad person. I still wear them and they've held up, they haven't fallen apart. The wool's toothy enough and it's just kept going. So I'm thinking this would be nice because I really like these for walking. And I'm hoping to get some walking done over the next few months. So maybe that's the way to go. But if you have any advice for travel knitting or any preferences on what you'd like to see, or even maybe pattern recommendations, I do have the 52 Weeks of Socks book, and I was tempted to, you know, take a photo of a couple of the socks if I wanted to do those. So I maybe do that. But yeah, I've got quite a lot of choice, which I didn't anticipate having, and I'm really grateful that I do. But maybe I want my mohair. Maybe I want to do mohair socks. I've got one pair of mohair socks, and Alex, every time he wears his, loses his mind. So maybe I can do that too and lose my mind a little bit. Yeah, so I guess I just had a little wing. So when recently I finished my gentle cosplay of Imogen, and I think I want to go out and take some better photos of it, and I really kind of want to improve it if I can. But so I recently finished that, and Imogen is a character from the 3rd campaign of Critical Role. It's a thing that I go on about a lot. People play Dungeons and Dragons, they're voice actors, they're amazing. It's like sitting around the table with your pals, and even though they're not, telling stories, and it's just wonderful if you like fantasy, and even if you don't, you might enjoy it. It's surprising. And recently, even though Alex can't commit, he did start watching campaign 3. We've started watching Escape from Bloodkeep, which is on Dimension 20, and it's actually free on the YouTube channel. Amazing. Alex is totally invested, and that it's lovely because we've both got a little bit of knitting done, and I think that's because we're not watching anything that, if you watch it with your eyes, it's even better. It really is, but you can look down at your knitting from time to time, and Alex has been working on his hat lately, and it's been the perfect companion. But I thought I'd share this. I think I've got a little bit of footage of making it, which is my little rickety thigh holster that I made for the purpose of gentle cosplay. Because it's gentle, I didn't want to purchase anything. I just didn't. I've used only things that I had in the house. So I had a little bit of vinyl, which is left from the interior of my car. So I just measured around my leg, decided how thick I wanted it. It's a little bit trash pandery, but and then I found the item that I wanted to put in my holster, which happened to be a potato gun, because I don't have a fancy dagger in the house, and this is way more on brand for me. I love potatoes. And then just drew around it, and it can go in both ways. But I made a little, so this actually was from a complete scrap. This was already this shape, so it kind of worked out. I just sewed it down, and useful. So I made the straps by measuring around my ankle, my leg where I wanted it to sit, and then added some elastic, which I've had for about 15 years, maybe more. We've got a local group called the Watford Recycling Arts Project, I think. And it used to be you could pay a fee, and then you could go in and take what you wanted and drop off what you didn't need. So I've got this elastic. So I just sewed elastic in so that it had a little bit of give and wiggle room and could sit higher or lower accordingly. And then after I'd made this little holster, all I did was use these again. They came from Wrap. These are little Velcro stickers that I will eventually sew on, but I wanted to decide which part of the holster I wanted most. So I made one for my little potato gun, and I also used part of a sleeve. This is a sleeve from a jacket that I cut off recently, which has a zip to open and to make it a little bit wider and shut it. It makes it a little bit tighter. It perfectly fits my phone, and also happens to perfectly fit a can of beer. It doesn't have to be beer, it's just a can. So the temptation is to actually sew this one onto here and actually use it, because it is a bit janky, but it's quite practical. Sometimes you want to go for a walk and you don't want to, not necessarily beer, but you don't want to take a bag just for your phone. But in here I could fit my phone and my key. Perfect. Especially if I don't have pockets, which is annoying that things don't have pockets. But yeah, I just thought it was a really fun little project and something that most of us have bits lying around, whether it's actually fake leather or vinyl or bits of leather or even, you know, canvas that we've got and a bit of elastic. We'd be able to make one, and super fun. Yeah. And I have been working on Fern lately. I hadn't picked that project up in ages, and I think that's because I've had more urgent gift knits to do and projects for sort of a preview knit for Pom Pom, which I'll share with you next episode. I've put a picture of it on Instagram if you're interested in that. But I didn't fancy really talking about stuff too much today. But the Fern project's starting to move again. I am keeping it very simple. It's not going to be perfect, and part of me wants to make some of it really a little bit over the top maybe. But you know, I made, when I did my Laudna cosplay, who is a spooky character from that, I love Laudna. Fern might be my favourite though, because I feel like in my head yes, I just love her. I used crochet and wire, and part of me really wants to use that technique with Fern too. So I think it's going to take me quite a while, but I'm enjoying that. It's really nice that where I am with Fern at the moment, I'm just doing knitting rows and purl rows. I'm just knitting flat. So it is quite nice to have a project like that, and I could take that with me, but it's a bit bulky to be taking away, I think. Yeah, but that's starting to move again, and I'm quite excited to see how that turns out. Part of it went wrong, and I'll keep that and show you. Like, I made a bit of a waistband thing that she has, and it doesn't work. It didn't work. So I've found an item that I can repurpose, and I'm tempted to paint. I'm not sure about painting leather without using proper leather paint, especially if the leather's already coloured, but I'm excited to see what happens and where it goes. I really am. Yeah, so I'm doing quite a lot of fun little things, and I've got to say, with these like gentle cosplay projects that I really don't intend on doing, but the more I do them, the more I enjoy them. I think they bring me so much joy. It's sort of the challenge of repurposing and using what I have to make something similar enough, but with my own little twist. Yeah, I'd love to see more of it, and not just knitted cosplays though. I'd love to see more of that. Like, I've always been quite fascinated by it, and I've followed people like Rachel Maxey, who I had the pleasure of meeting years ago, actually more when I looked like this. So I do follow accounts and people that do it, but I think I need to see more of it. It's so creative, and you can exercise so many different parts of creativity with it that I think I might go a little bit more overboard with Fern maybe. Now I'm saying it out loud, I think I should. I think it'd be really fun. What about like the ears? I think maybe crochet wired ears would be really fun for Fern's cosplay. Anyway, let's stop that chat. But that kind of leads me on to my historic knitting project, which has kind of sat on the back burner, and not because I haven't wanted to, because I do. It's just trying to find that balance between... See, I think it's an interesting project. I think it's such an interesting project that it should be done and seen through. So I might actually start trying to factor time in to work on it. Start learning about different techniques from across the world. So if you're new and you haven't seen the video, which I don't expect anyone ever has, but I wanted to do a kind of become a master, so to speak, of knitting. So for the first 2 years first 3 years I would be an apprentice, so I'd be learning basic skills, and that was my first 2 years of knitting. The third year I went into historic knitting, and I did quite a bit of it. I just haven't shared any, which is a bit nuts, yeah. But I just really wanted to show them off in the best possible light, and we've not been able to. There's a particular place that I'd love to visit to shoot one of the items, or a couple of the items, and we've just not been able to do it. You know, if only we'd have known that the lockdown was on its way. Yeah, so I then did spend a year knitting from historical, and the idea being that for the next year I'd be kind of travelling around the world learning other techniques, much as they would have way back when. But I haven't spent the time to do it, and I think I will start, and maybe instead of this year I will start in September, which I think is when my knitting anniversary is, so to speak. I will start looking at techniques and start picking that back up again, so that in year 5 to 6 I will do my master items. So I will knit a pair of stockings, knit either a rug or a carpet type thing, or a wall hanging, and a few other pieces that they would have had to knit to kind of be able to go out into the world on their own. And I just love the idea of this project and how different it is coming to knitting and approaching it in that way, rather than as just, you know, knitting stuff for fun and friends. And it would be fun, obviously, but there's just slightly more, not serious approach, but intentionally open to new skills, if that makes sense. I think that's why. And also I think it's a great chance to talk to people, meet people, hopefully through people that have honed a certain skill, whether that's, you know, a colourwork style or a technique. It would be really nice to get that opportunity. So I think that's going to start coming back again. There's been a lot going on. There's a project that I've been working on. I think we started in February, like fully, but it's been in my brain for quite a while. And that's going to start to come to fruition and be a bit more public very soon. And I think once that's kind of in place, it will be a bit more... I'll be a bit more free to come back to these things, and there will be a little bit more balance. I'm quite nervous about this project now, if I'm honest, and I'm sorry that I've had to keep it quiet, but I just think it's the right approach for this for now. But hopefully when I'm back from my little adventure, which I'm not sure we're even going to take our cameras, but we probably will. Yes. Stop waffling, cat. I think I should leave it here today. short-ish, a little bit waffly, but kind of an update. And I think with the I don't know why I keep talking about stuff and then trying to write it off and then coming back. There might be an opportunity, or not an opportunity. There might be a little bit of a time in the coming future where I might ask for some makers to have a little look at our project and kind of give feedback and see if you like it, what you feel about it, how we can improve it from the outset. We've really poured our heart and soul into it, so I'm very excited to get it seen. But yeah, so I will probably do that in the Discord group, which is a space that I really want to be more active in. I've said this before, but screen time, balancing the project that I'm working on does require a lot of screen time, and we secured a bit of a grant, which is amazing, but that also required a lot of additional screen time, and it will until the end of September. So hopefully when autumn really starts to kick in, I'll have more time to be a proper part of it. I have done a few knit nights recently, both in the group and then quietly, so I'm quite looking forward to being able to be a bit more, hopefully more routined with this project. When this project really kicks in and settles, it should be that I can divide my time up a little bit more scheduled but still flexible, which should help me feel a bit better about being at the screen a bit more and things. So yeah, if you're interested in that not very much information project, do become a part of the group if you're not, and I will work on that space and being there a bit more too. So yeah, all that to say, thank you for being here, thank you for being interested, and if you do have any sock recommendations or there's a particular pair you'd like to see that would just help me whittle down, please do let me know. And likewise, I hope you have a really nice time whatever you get up to. I will probably take next week off and then be back the following week. I'm hoping to record an updated Summer Knits video. I potentially might do a 1-year anniversary of all my jumpers again that's coming up. So I won't talk about every jumper I've ever knitted, but the ones I have left in my wardrobe that I haven't gifted and things. I really like doing that roundup and trying them on and then realising, oh, why am I not wearing this enough, or I quite like that. So I'll be doing that soon, and I will be doing my no nylon video too. I've been really just wanting to make sure I've worn the socks that I've knitted, and not the last few weeks. It's been really warm here, but I have been wearing them and asking Alex to give me some feedback too. So that's all coming, as well as just normal podcasts, I hope. So yeah, I hope you're well. I hope you stay joyful, even if it's just a tiny bit. I know that the world's really, I keep saying it, but it's like a blooming yo-yo at the moment. There's some real good and there's some real evil. So yeah, I hope you and your loved ones are well, and I hope to see you again very soon. And don't forget to love each other.